Welcome to Ganesh Institute channel. So today we are going to discuss, in our last class we had discussed about aspects of language, and in that too we discussed how language was originated, what was language, all those things, right? Right. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about language and how it is related with our thoughts. Okay, so let's get started. There are different views, many views regarding the concept of language and thought. Okay, so some people believe that language is primary and makes thought possible, which means that it is absolutely central to our thought process. Very, very important for our thought process, right? Language helps us to understand the thoughts of other people and express our own, right? And also structure our thoughts. So in that sense, there are two views mainly. First is cognitive view of language and another one is communicative view of language. So let's discuss first about cognitive view. Cognitive means related with mind, memory. Okay. So according to this view, language is constitutive of thought and defines the limits of our thought. Okay, that means thought and language are related with each other. This view represents this thing. When it comes to communicative view, this view suggests that language is only a tool for expression, only a means of communication, as thoughts are the ones which come first and language is only a conduct through which thoughts are articulated. So you see the difference. In cognitive view, the the proposers are saying that okay, according to cognitive view, language and thought are related. So somewhat or the other, language defines thought. However, in communicative view, the proposals are saying that thoughts come first and then language exists because of thoughts. There are some critiques as well of these theories, of these views, which say that thoughts and ideas exist independently. Language and thoughts have no relation with each other because they claim with an example that okay, human activities, there are so many human activities like dance, music, painting. So do they involve language? No, they involve thoughts, which may be possible without language as well. Some people can say that okay, dance has a language, but it is not exactly same as the human language, right? So we can say, as per the critics view, language and thoughts can exist independently. All right, moving on, next thing, which is the Saussure's view of language. Okay, so who was Saussure? The full name was Ferdinand de Saussure, and he was a famous linguist. And if you see, he gave a particular term which is the linguist sign. Before I will tell you that okay, what is linguist sign, just focus on this. What does it mean, or what does it show? What is this? This is an apple, right? So do you ever thought of this? Do you ever think of this, that okay, this is an apple? We know when somebody says apple, we will have an image of an apple, right? But who gave this term, this name, apple? So this is called linguist sign. What does it mean? According to Saussure, we have the pairing of word and labels. Labels means naming, and word means concept. I mean, the pairing of meaning and concepts produce a system of signs which are called linguist signs. What does it mean? See, our concepts and words are closely related with each other. As I told you, when we use the word apple, we also have in mind the corresponding image of an apple, right? We can't think of a chair when we say apple, right? So there is a fixed figure, fixed concept in our mind that apple means this. This name means this, right? However, on what basis apple was selected as a name? This apple, that is totally arbitrary, which means naming relationship is arbitrary. Linguists can choose anything, any word, like we say eggplant as brinjal, anything arbitrary. So community is free to choose any word for any concept, but once chosen, it can't be easily separated from the concept for which it stands. What does it mean? If we, because now we know that apple means disfigure, so now it cannot be changed, right? You can't say or can't give apple as a name to any other object or any other thing, right? So this means what Saussure gave, the linguist sign is comprises of two parts. One is signified and another is signifier. So signifier means a label, a name, and signified means the concept. Okay, and this linguist sign binds the label and the concept together. All right, now this concept, if I ask you that in apple what is signified and what is signifier, so you will see that apple, this figure, this concept in our mind is signified and the word apple is signifier. All right, so according to Saussure's view of language, he said, just as it is impossible to take a pair of scissors and cut one side of paper without cutting the other at the same time, similarly, it is impossible in a language to separate sound from thought or thought from sound. Okay? Moving on towards our next concept, which is Sapir-Whorf Hypothesis. So this is also one of the view which claims something about language and thought. So if we see, this hypothesis is about the relationship between language and how we see it. That means our perception of reality and the representation of language in the human mind. Okay, so this hypothesis was given by Edward Sapir and his student Benjamin Lee Whorf. Okay, so they gave two aspects of this hypothesis. One is linguistic relativity and another one is linguistic determinism. What do they mean? Firstly, according to linguistic relativity theory, different people see the world in different ways, right? If you see, some people, if I give you an example, some people see only one kind of water or any object. Other may see their, kinds, see 5 different kinds and therefore feel the need for having 5 different words for 5 different kinds of water. And hence, if you say that on what basis we give the name of an object, so there is no absolute way or natural way to give a name to the world around us. All right. Next is linguistic determinism, which means that language provides the framework for our thoughts. So that means it is in the support of cognitive view, that okay, language provides the framework for our thoughts. If we will not having any language, then we cannot think, we cannot have thought. This is what it means. So, and it is impossible to think outside this frame. All right, so there are some of the people who were like supporting these hypotheses which have relationship between language and thoughts. So first one is Wittgenstein and Davidson. So according to these people, there is no other species other than humans who matches human beings in the complexity, rationality, and sophistication of thought. We can think anything, right? anything. We have so complex structure of thoughts. So, and no other species has a language like the one we have. This is because language makes thought possible. Language makes thought possible. All right. Next is Russell. So Russell gave that why we need words. According to Russell, as compared to images, we produce words. Like we say, give the name apple to an apple. So to every image, we produce words easily to articulate our thoughts and listen to them effortlessly to understand others, right? We do so. Let's say if you have something in your mind and you want to convey that to me. So you will either do by sign language or by language, by speaking something. And that name justifies this, that okay, we need the word. We need the word. Every time people say, for example, tree, they mean the same object. They cannot call a carpet as a tree, right? Tree has a signified concept in our mind, although their pronunciations may be significantly different, but we always need words to recall or describe an image, a thought, or or even in our memory, okay? Event or anything in our memory, okay? Now moving on to next concept, which is language and thoughts are independent. That means who support critics that there is no relationship between language and thought. So in this context, we have Plinker with us, who suggested that if we think that thought is the same thing as language, then we are wrong, and this is called conventional absurdity, that we are not good in our concepts. So how, I mean, he claimed this, that language and thoughts are independent, not just for namesake. He gave some of the examples, which you can also relate. For example, though language helps us to articulate our thoughts, ideas, and images, but the amount of mental activity that takes place in our mind is independent of language. Suppose you shift your house. Okay, now you are observing the space, the location, and then you are arranging things as per the space and observation. So this is how your thought is working. There is no need of language here, which means language and thoughts are independent and they can exist without each other as well, right? Similarly, he also claimed that if language and thoughts are not independent, then translation from one language to another would not be possible. So if you see, for a translator, it should be possible to somehow code thoughts expressed in the source language independent of both the source and the target languages, right? If he will think of only his mother tongue, then he will not be able to translate it, right? So thoughts and language must be separated to do so. Similarly, moreover, he claimed that language and thoughts are independent because there are a large number of people in the world who acquire 2 or 3 languages as their native languages, right? They can speak more than one language. If language and thought would have some relation, then this would not be possible, right? Moreover, he also claimed that new words are created every now and then because we are not prisoners of the words of our language. We think out of the box. We have power to think of. We have thoughts which are independent of language. All right. And the last thing which he said was how language and thoughts are different. And I hope you can also relate with it. Sometimes, this happens to me very frequently. I know exactly what I have in mind and what I have to say, but I can't find the words to say it in that particular language. Or that's not what I meant at all, though that's exactly what I said. So I hope you found some relation in it. So this shows that there is a disjunction between language and thought. I hope you understand all these things and you have understood it. And if so, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much and take care till my next video. Bye bye.